Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm here. Okay, we're going to do something we've demonstrated before, but we're going to do a little bit of a different application. We're going to do another version of Jeff Lawton's Instant Garden, which is really sheet mulching, right? So we're going to take this area, and let me back up a little bit. The reason I'm doing it is that there are so many people getting involved in this space right now, and they don't know where to go, and they don't know how easy growing your food can be. Even the sheep agrees back there, right? Okay, so what we're going to do, we're basically taking, if you've watched any of our latest videos, you know that in the orchard area, we've done some tropic type stuff. In the food forest area, we've done exactly the same thing. And right over here, you can see where we've left off with the trellises and really the edge of the food forest. Here's what's cool, y'all, is that because there's so many people getting into this, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make an instant garden using Jeff Lawton's methods. We're going to have to vary things a little bit because we got different materials, but it's okay. I'm going to show you how easy it is. So right off the bat, what do we have here? We got this plastic tote that really wasn't being used for much. And I got a bunch of cardboard I've had sitting overnight in here, just kind of getting wet, right? So it's very, very saturated. We'll use that in a little bit later. But the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to take my tape measure and I'm going to make this instant garden 4 feet wide and however long I want it to be, right? So before I do all that, I'm just going to kind of map out and tell you what's going to happen. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to trim this stuff down with a weed eater. I'm going to scalp it to it's going to look like, it's going to be very much the same way the Sioux did Custer. I'm going to bring this stuff down as low as I possibly can. And that's going to make sense here in a little while. In basically the footprint of where that instant garden is going to be. So right off, I'm going to take my tape measure. It's going to be 4 feet wide, and I'm going to say, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 feet long. We'll go ahead and clear that first, and then we'll pick it up. All right, so all this is weed eated down really, really close to the ground. Do you have to do it? Well, it kind of creates something of a green manure. So what we're going to do at this point, I know that this is somewhere, I've put my tape measure out here, and it's somewhere around 4 feet by 20, okay? So that's quite a big area. So what we're going to do at this point, if you have some raw manure, this is when you want to put it down, and basically the footprint of where your garden's going to be. Then you want to water it in pretty good. So I got water cans on the back of this truck, and I could stretch out the hose down here from the rainwater catchment, but I don't have enough hose right now. So I got 20 gallons on the back of this truck. I'm going to stick it in cans. We're going to wet the ground, and then we're going to put the cardboard on it. We're getting closer to the nitty gritty. Now it looks dry up here, but it's really not. This stuff was soaking and soaking, so you know there's actually quite a bit of moisture still in there, and you want that, especially for the next step. Now we're going to take and we're going to cover this entire thing with a combination of straw and a little bit of hay. Good thing about it is that the chickens have been through it, so they've plucked out any things we wouldn't want to be in here. And you want to try to put this part down 10 inches to 1 foot thick. I got a limited material because I need some of this for other things. So we'll just see how far we get. So we got 2 slits in here, and it's really this simple at this point. Now, like I said, had it been starts, we would have just made a cylinder, put some compost in there, put your start in it, and then pull this back over. But because we're doing sweet potatoes here, we're going to go about every 14 to 16 inches. 30 inches on center between the rows. And every so often, Michelle's going to come down here because she insisted on helping. This is going to be a one-man gig, but we got things we need to do today. So she's like, you're taking too long. We need to do something else. So here we go. She's going to come down here and she's going to use her patented method, you know, with a broomstick to go ahead and make some holes up in here and put those sweet potato slips in there. So we'll be done with that, water it in, and then we'll be on to the next thing. All right, there you got it. Instant garden in just a couple hours. I mean, when you add it all up, I was doing other things too, but if you were to calculate the time that it took to do basically an 80 square foot garden, pretty respectable, just like that in a couple hours, no problem at all. And I'll tell you what I really love about these instant gardens, and we've done it before, it's a fast way to build soil. But here's what's even better in my view, is that I hate to weed anything. I don't care what it is. What's cool about this is that, let's say you have a raised bed, and I talked to Sean from the Modern Yeoman about this. What we've done is that, okay, so let's say you're all done with your growing season. Just repeat the process. Put down more cardboard, more manure if you have to, whatever it requires. William, you got that camera all over the doggone place.
There's stuff crawling on me.
Are you ready? Okay, the best part about it is, next time you need to put in another garden, you can put it right on top. Let's say you had a raised bed and it went up about yay high. Just repeat the whole process all over again as soon as you're done with this. It'll basically compost down, no big deal. Just repeat the process and you're gonna build soil in a massive way. Now, just so you know, in this case here, up the hill in the orchard setting, we did this and we compared it to the ground that we didn't do it in. It was astonishingly different in the areas where we did the instant gardens compared to the ones that we didn't. The soil, the worms had done so much work. There was zero cardboard left. All of it had been exchanged into the soil. All this is going to do is make a happy home for your worms. So that's what you want to try to do. And it's an easy way to do it. So where can you do it? Anywhere. Your imagination is pretty much the only thing limiting you in where you can apply this. Now we're doing it on our land, but is there any reason this couldn't be done in a park? And frankly, as I stated in another video, when these sweet potatoes are doing their thing, they're indistinguishable to the eyes of most people from things that they just walk by every day, like around these parts, like ivy and things like that. They'd see this going everywhere and they just think it was some invasive species, not realizing that all this stuff is edible. So there are options. There are tons of options. Easy to do. Many different applications.
Mention people do this on top of like gravel parking lots. Or like asphalt and stuff.
Okay. Keep in mind, folks, this stuff is so revolutionary and very little known that people have done this sort of thing on asphalt parking lots. It works. It's not that hard to do. Easy to do. In fact, in many cases, this is the first time we've ever used a broad fork before we ever put it down, and we've still had really good results no matter what. So I'm curious to see how much better it's going to work out using a broad fork. So folks, hope this stuff helps, especially in these times where people are struggling and wondering what's the best way about growing your food. Well, this is one easy method to do it. We've been talking about, like, what if you had to do this and buy all the materials? What would it take and how much would it cost? We'll cover that one in the future as well. So folks, remember, subscribe, tell your friends about us. You know, evangelize this information far and wide because it's revolutionary in these times. So, you know, hopefully this serves you well, but most importantly, I hope you take this stuff, not just watch it here, but actually put it to work and do it yourself. So until next time, this is Billy. The Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where pimp stands for permaculture, is my passion. We'll see you next time.